Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and if you have your Mars in Scorpio, then this is your video. So Mars is a nocturnal planet. His color is red, and his day is Tuesday, and the astrological hours assigned to him are the 1st and the 8th of the day of Tuesday. So if you want to do Mars magic, the best time to do it is Tuesday, the 1st and the 8th astrological hour. So Mars is of course nocturnal, like I've said, and he does better in a night chart. So if you have your sun at the bottom of your chart, then you have a night chart. If you have it on the top, it's a day chart. And Mars does not do well in a day chart, right? The thing of Mars activation is that it is fiery. So by fire, Mars cuts and burns and creates something new. Mars is the pioneer. Mars is our action principle. It is through which we take action. With a debilitated or afflicted Mars, the chances of our actions actually becoming solid and concrete, and we are getting results from it, that is rare with an afflicted or a debilitated Mars. It's when you ground and work with this fiery energy, it becomes easier after 24. It is only then do you realize how important Mars or Mangal is. That's why being Mangalic can be devastating for your relationship, because Mars is divorce, Mars is abortion, whereas Venus is childbirth. So Mars in Scorpio, this is fixed water. Okay, and this is of course ruled by Mars, and the spiritual ruler is Pluto, the higher octave of Mars. How beautiful is that? Now Mars rules Aries and is exalted in Capricorn, and the other sign it rules is Scorpio. And in Scorpio, Mars has a sort of stealth. In Aries, he's more overt, but in Scorpio, he's dangerous. Anyway, there's a very dangerous component to Mars. Mars rules volcanoes, earthquakes, and Mars and Scorpio, it's about volcanoes inside, earthquakes happening in your very own psyche, because Scorpio deals with the psyche, right? Although Mars in Scorpio is probably one of the best placements for Mars, because here you have the focused endurance that a fixed sign provides. Aries is cardinal, so there's always this quick going component to Aries. There's no solid grounding. But here, and Mars rules the water triplicity. So here in Scorpio, he's very, very powerful. So the way we take action becomes really amplified when you have Mars in Scorpio. And Mars always deals with excesses. In fact, the malefics in astrology deal with excesses, whereas the benefics tend towards moderation. I think that is why they are the benefics, and Jupiter and Venus are the benefics, and Saturn and Mars are the malefics. Although it is known that malefics can also be problematic in your natal chart, or by progressions, or by transit activation. Okay, no, now with Mars in Scorpio, there's something about the survival instinct and the survival complex that Mars targets in others when he's placed in Scorpio. He's the red planet, he's diabolical, he's dangerous. Okay, and he is here to show you a new path through pain, because the way Venus gives and Mars takes. Venus is the unifying principle, Mars separates. So when you look at the Mars signs, you see that they're oppositions. Mars is in detriment in Venus's signs. Okay, so and of course in fall and Cancer, because he's exalted in Capricorn, and the Cancer is ruled by Luna or Moon. So Mars does not do well in the feminine signs, which are cold and dry. Okay, and Mars is of course dry, but very, very dry, and very, very hot. Okay, now we look at certain illnesses and certain anatomy that Mars rules, the gallbladder for instance. Okay, and Scorpio rules the organs of elimination and procreation. And Mars also symbolizes any form of erectile dysfunction. So in Mars in Scorpio can be very much about the libido and a constant sexual hunger. Okay, now the left ear is also ruled by Mars. Tertiary fevers, carbuncle, plague sores. Yes, coronavirus is ruled by Mars as well as Pluto. Burnings, ringworm, okay, blisters, distempers, frenzies, right? Scars, smallpox, all wounds. And Mars and Scorpio can have wounding, not just physical body wounding, yes, if it's your first house, but also psychological wounding with Mars and Scorpio, okay? And if you have an imbalanced Mars, then you have what is known as Pitta imbalance in Ayurveda, stuff that happens due to excessive heat in the body, okay? Even body odor or odor from the mouth can arise with an afflicted or debilitated Mars. Now, when you look at Scorpio is about getting to the truth. It's about drilling to the truth. So Mars here can become a tireless crusader for the truth and getting to the bottom of things, okay? Now, the key words for Mars: power, okay, courage. So Scorpio is definitely about courage, but there can be a sort of an armor around Mars and Scorpio. Because if you look at, again, Mars and Cancer, I discussed this. Scorpio and Cancer are the two signs, water triplicity again, where you have the glyph of the sign, and the symbols for the sign have armors on them, the crab and the scorpion. So here, you know, there's a sense of Mars dawning in armor, being very prickly. The Scorpio energy is very prickly, and Mars cuts and you know, it's very sharp. It's very sharp, and Venus is very round. So war, Mars and Scorpio can definitely be about stealth warfare, because Mars and Scorpio is so stealthy, okay, secretive, very, very secretive, interested in the black arts or the occult or dark arts, or you know, magic. Could be good white magic as well, but there's a tendency to see things that no one sees with Scorpio, and Mars here has that power. Mars is the raw power of seeing, because, you know, he rules the face and the eyes and the brains and the head. So, you know, the face, so he sees, he's very visual. Mars is very visual. So in Scorpio, Mars can be very lusty, like I said, okay, and very power hungry, because Scorpio loves power. It's about hegemony, you know, destruction. And Scorpio, the energy of Scorpio, it's very diabolical, because Scorpio is the crossroads. It's a fixed sign, and it is about, when you have Mars in Scorpio, you do come across people who are on the crossroads in life. In fact, you sort of propel them towards this crossroad. That's why people find this Mars and Scorpio such a difficult placement. And you meet people, and, you know, I've seen Mars and Scorpio, and other Scorpio people tell me that there's a connection to the world of the dead with Scorpio, and with Mars activating this with this fiery matchstick. You know, it's about you really seeing things that nobody sees. Not just seeing things, you are looking for such things. Okay, that's why necromancy, the dark arts, demon summoning, all of this is very possible with Mars in Scorpio. You know, and Mars rules the 8th house anyway, so this is very powerful Martian understanding when you have Mars and Scorpio, and very action oriented, right? You have this necessity of dominating, okay, and sometimes this can be good because you can be a great leader, but sometimes you can be just a power hungry leader who wants to dominate people for the sake of dominating. Like I said, Mars is more deliberate in Aries, but in Scorpio, he takes on this very stealthy, deceitful way sometimes. And Mars does rule lies, deceit, and screams, according to classical astrologers. So there's this very deceitful component of Mars in Scorpio as well. And of course, fornication. That's very, very possible. You're losing tremendous amounts of energy, money, everything because of fornication. Because, you seem to have a hungry demon attached to your sacral chakra. It's very possible. So having garlic on an empty stomach can be very fruitful for you, with like 1.5 liters of water to wash down all the toxins. Engaging in sports is a must for Mars in Scorpio people, because they need to let out that animal energy that Mars brings. Remember, fire separates, and this is fixed water, cold. Okay, and this is the realm of the subconscious, the unconscious. So Mars here is bringing out things that, that we don't know existed, and this is attacking a very sensitive part in others sometimes, because Mars is the attacker, the aggressor, the conflict bringer. So he can attack a very sensitive part of another person, make them more vulnerable. Mars in Scorpio can sometimes become so power hungry that they show the vulnerability in others, and it's a power game they play. Okay, there's a huge side of control. Even in bed, these people thrive off control. Okay, now because Scorpio, Mars in Scorpio feels alive with a certain type of intensity that is lacking in any other sign. Mars does not get fed this type of scorpionic intensity in any sign, and this is just like a matchstick to his whole being, and he's so intense. Okay, this intensity, it's like these deep scorpionic volcanoes that Mars erupts. As I said, volcanoes in our physical body, in our sexual organs, in our mind, in our psyche, all of this. With Mars and Scorpio, there's always the endings and the beginnings, and the necessity of rebirth. So, we need to look at rebirth, birthing ourselves constantly, because that is what Scorpio does. But oftentimes, Mars and Scorpio will attach to an action or to an emotion and feed off it. And it can become almost compulsory, a compulsion. Okay, so this compulsive component to Mars and Scorpio can be very daunting for others. Very possessive, can be very jealous, violent anger, temper, like domestic violence can sometimes be seen with Mars and Scorpio. And secrets, they have the secrets, and they're not going to tell you, because they firstly don't think you will understand. That is the scorpionic intensity. They're afraid to show you their emotions and their feelings, because there's just so much of it, and their emotions are somehow very painful. This Mars is feeding off this very painful emotions that Scorpio brings to the table. So that is the only false side. Of course, they need to have this compulsion for power. It's pathological, so that needs to be curtailed. Of course, a well-balanced Mars here could be surgeon, detective, military strategist, investigator, FBI profiler. It's great with endurance. The staying power of Scorpio, Mars in Scorpio, is immense everywhere else and in the bedroom. Immense staying power. Very strategic Mars here. Okay, Mars always has a final plan in Scorpio. Mars is planned like up the wazoo in Scorpio. He does not have such a plan in Aries. He cannot speak of. Okay, maybe the only other sign that is comparable is Mars in Capricorn. He's very, very methodical and, just very strategic. When I think of Mars in Scorpio, Mars in Capricorn, I think of marathon runners and just their peak endurance and the stamina and the will to do it over and over again, and the consistency. That is crazy. But Mars here can be very suspicious, very distrustful, quick to anger, quick to reject, exclude. Mars excludes, Venus unites, remember that. So that can be a challenge for Mars and Scorpio to finally understand how Mars works. But this is very powerful placement for Mars, so use that power, ground that power, and manifest and work towards a beautiful tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know what you think. Thank you.